The Galactic Council's chamber buzzed with nervous energy as beings from across the galaxy filled the massive amphitheater. Ambassador Voss, an ancient creature with skin like weathered stone and 6 glowing eyes, stood at the center podium. His species, the Thren, had lived for thousands of years, and Voss himself had witnessed the rise and fall of a dozen civilizations. Today's meeting was different. Today they were discussing Earth. General Crix of the Zephyrian Empire sat in the visitors section, his blue-scaled face showing clear amusement. The Zephyrians were warriors, conquerors who had claimed 73 worlds for their ever-expanding empire. Crix's tail swished impatiently as he waited for this important warning about some backwater planet. The species known as humans, Voss began, his voice carrying the weight of millennia, must not be disturbed. They are to remain in their solar system, untouched by any galactic power. A rumble of confusion spread through the chamber. Several species had never even heard of humans. The Crystalline Confederation representative spoke first, her voice like chiming bells. Are these humans a powerful military force? Do they possess weapons that threaten the galaxy? Voss paused, his 6 eyes dimming slightly. Not exactly. They are unpredictable. General Crix could not contain himself. He stood, his 8-foot frame imposing even among the diverse assembly. Council members, with respect, my scouts have observed this Earth. They have primitive projectile weapons, crude nuclear devices, and have not even established colonies on their neighboring worlds. They are centuries behind our technology. That is precisely why they are dangerous, Voss replied quietly. The Aquatic Assembly's representative bubbled through their translation device. Please explain, Ancient One. How can a primitive species threaten advanced civilizations? Voss activated a holographic display showing various human conflicts throughout history. They do not fight like us. When we wage war, we use our best technology against similar technology. Humans use everything. They turn farming tools into weapons. They strap explosives to anything that moves. They fight with cooking utensils if necessary. Crix laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the chamber. This makes them dangerous? Desperation does not equal strength. During their Great War, Voss continued, they flew cloth-covered aircraft held together with wire and wood. When these became obsolete, they strapped rockets to them. When the rockets weren't enough, they flew the aircraft directly into their enemies' ships. A collective gasp arose from several species. Suicide attacks were considered primitive and wasteful by galactic standards. They have a saying, Voss went on, if it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid. They have proven this philosophy repeatedly. The Silicon Sovereignty's emissary, a rock-like creature whose words came as electronic pulses, joined the discussion. Surely their lack of space travel limits their threat? Their first attempt at powered flight lasted 12 seconds. 66 years later, they walked on their moon. When they wanted to leave their planet, they built a ship by strapping themselves to controlled explosions. Most species take centuries to make such leaps. Crix remained unconvinced. Speed of development means nothing if the technology is inferior. Voss displayed more images. They split the atom of elements and created weapons capable of destroying entire cities. They did this for war before they used it for power. They created artificial intelligence to play games, then used the same technology for warfare. Council, a new voice spoke. It was Ambassador Quell of the Peaceful Worlds Alliance. What exactly are you warning us about? Their military might, or their unpredictability? Both, Voss answered solemnly. We have observed them for generations. They fight wars against their own kind with creativity that terrifies us. They study these conflicts, learn from them, and improve. They do not simply build better weapons, they build better ways of thinking about war. The chamber fell silent. Crix, however, stood again. Council, you ask us to fear a species that cannot even reach their own moon without chemical rockets? My empire has faced races wielding plasma cannons, reality-warping devices, and planet crackers. These humans threaten us with... what? Their fighting spirit? Voss turned all 6 eyes to Crix. General, answer me this. What do you do when your Energy weapons fail. We retreat and regroup with backup systems. Humans, Voss said slowly. Pick up rocks. The implication hung in the air. Species advanced to space travel rarely thought about primitive solutions. Humans apparently never stopped thinking about them. They are problem solvers who never forget any solution, no matter how crude, Voss explained. This makes them adaptable, in ways that pure technological advancement cannot match, General Crick scoffed. The Zephyrian Empire will not cower before a species of primitives. We will demonstrate that advanced technology trumps barbaric desperation. As the meeting concluded, Voss approached Crix privately. General, I have lived long enough to see patterns. Humans are not just fighters, they are learners. Every defeat teaches them. Every victory shows them new possibilities. Crix's confidence never wavered. Then they will learn what happens when they face a superior force. Voss's 6 eyes dimmed with something resembling sadness. No, General. You will learn what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable problem solver. 3 months. Later, the Zephyrian Third Fleet departed for the Sol system, ignoring the Council's warnings. Crix had decided that humanity needed to understand their place in the galactic order. He would soon discover that humans had very different ideas about their place in the universe. 3 months after leaving the Galactic Council meeting, General Crix's fleet jumped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. The blue and green planet hung in the distance like a jewel, radiating radio waves that the Zephyrians had monitored for years. To Crix, it looked helpless and ripe for conquest. Sir, we're in position, reported Commander Yex from the tactical station. The bridge of the Zephyrian flagship buzzed with activity, as officers prepared for what they expected would be the universe's shortest invasion. Begin scanning for defensive positions, Crix ordered, his 3 hearts beating with the excitement of battle. Though I doubt we'll find much. The scans revealed exactly what their spies had reported. Ancient satellites orbited the planet. Crude missiles sat on launch pads. Their most advanced fighters still burned chemical fuel. Crix's mandibles clicked in amusement. Open a communication channel, he commanded. Let's offer them the chance to surrender. The transmission connected to Earth's main defense network. On the bridge's main screen appeared a human in military uniform. Her dark eyes were calm but held something Crix couldn't identify. The name tag on her chest read, Admiral Park Jin. This is Earth Defense Force Command, she said, speaking in perfectly clear galactic standard. Whatever you want, you can turn around and leave now. Crix laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Humans of Earth, I am General Crix of the Zephyrian Third Fleet. You are surrounded by 100 of our most advanced warships. Surrender now, and we will spare your lives as workers. Admiral Park Jin leaned forward slightly. Let me give you some advice, General. You picked the wrong planet on the wrong day. Turn around now, or we'll make you regret coming here. The audacity shocked every alien on the bridge. Here was a species with primitive technology, outnumbered 1,000 to 1, threatening them. Your bravery is admirable but foolish, Crix replied. You have 30 minutes to consider surrender, then we begin our attack. The communication ended. Admiral Park's face disappeared from the screen. 30 minutes? Commander Yex asked. Sir, we could conquer this world in 30 minutes. Indeed, Crix agreed. But the Council claims they're dangerous. Let them show us this danger. On Earth, Admiral Park turned to her staff. Her bridge was a mix of old and new technology, screens displaying data alongside traditional paper charts. Captain Im Tae, her tactical officer, looked worried. Ma'am, our fighters are ready, but their weapons are clearly superior. Captain, Park said calmly, what's the first rule of warfare? Use your enemy's expectations against them? Exactly. Park turned to Lieutenant Seo Min at Communications. Send a message to all ships and bases. Operation Scrap Metal is now active. Across Earth's orbit, systems that had appeared dormant suddenly came online. These weren't just satellites. They were kinetic orbital bombardment platforms, disguised as old communication arrays. Each one held dozens of tungsten rods, dense metal spears designed to fall at incredible speeds. Sir, the Zephyrian sensor operator reported. I'm detecting energy buildup from those primitive satellites. Crix frowned. They're probably trying to coordinate a defense, proceed with the attack. The first wave of Zephyrian fighters launched from their carriers. Their pilots, confident in their plasma cannons and energy shields, flew in tight formations. They expected to face missiles and bullets, maybe primitive lasers. What they got was something else entirely. The first tungsten rod struck a fighter squadron without warning. The metal spear, accelerated by gravity and electromagnetic launchers, hit the lead ship at 30,000 miles per hour. The alien shields designed to deflect energy beams offered no protection against solid matter moving that fast. The ship simply vanished in a cloud of debris. What was that? Crix demanded as more riders fell from the sky. Kinetic weapons, sir. They're throwing metal rods at us. Before Crix could respond, Earth's surface erupted with activity. Missile silos opened, but instead of one missile each, they launched dozens of smaller projectiles. Nuclear submarines surfaced and fired modified ICBMs that split into clouds of smaller warheads. These aren't nuclear weapons, the science officer reported. They're throwing chunks of metal and explosive shards. Many, many chunks. Even more confusing was the response from human fighters. Pilots like Major Kim Sol flew aircraft that looked ancient by galactic standards, but they moved unlike anything the Zephyrians had seen. Instead of maintaining formation, they scattered in seemingly random patterns impossible to track or predict. Sir, they're using chemical combustion engines, a pilot reported. How are they outmaneuvering us? What the aliens didn't understand was that human pilots had trained for dogfights since the early days of aviation. They knew that speed and firepower meant nothing if you couldn't hit your target. As more Zephyrian ships fell, Crix realized his mistake. These humans hadn't built weapons to fight galactic powers. They'd built weapons to fight each other. And after thousands of years of warfare with their own species, they'd gotten very good at killing. Sir, we're losing ships faster than expected, Commander Yex reported. Their weapons are crude but effective. Crix gripped his command chair. Impossible. We have shields, armor, better everything. Yes, sir, but... Yex paused as another explosion lit up the viewer. They're not fighting the war we prepared for. From Earth, a new transmission came through. Admiral Park appeared again, but this time she wasn't alone. Behind her stood officers from many countries, all wearing different uniforms but clearly united. General Kree, Park said, you had 30 minutes to leave. That time is up. Welcome to Earth. What followed would forever change how the galaxy viewed humanity. The species that was supposed to cower before superior technology instead adapted to it, countered it, and began systematically destroying one of the galaxy's most feared fleets, using weapons that any galactic power would consider obsolete. The humans weren't just defending their world. They were teaching the universe a lesson about underestimating the power of creativity, desperation, and the refusal to follow anyone else's rules of warfare. News of the alien invasion spread across Earth faster than the invaders had anticipated. Within minutes of the first exchange, every television, radio, and internet connection carried the same message. Earth was under attack. In Seoul, President Lee Jun sat in an emergency meeting with his military advisors. The screens around him showed the battle in space, where human fighters darted between massive alien ships like hornets attacking eagles. Sir, we have confirmation from all major powers, reported Colonel Park Bach. Russia, China, USA, Brazil. Everyone is sharing their weapons technology. Complete cooperation. Lee nodded grimly. Finally, a reason for the world to unite. The same scene played out in capitals worldwide. Enemies became allies within hours. North and South Korea shared missile blueprints. India and Pakistan coordinated their nuclear submarines. Old grudges disappeared when faced with extinction. Colonel Park led the first human ground mission. His team flew toward a damaged alien cruiser that had crash-landed in the Pacific. They wore mining suits, thick, bulky armor designed for deep-sea work. Their weapons were industrial tools, cutting lasers, mining charges, and welding equipment. Remember, Park told his squad as their transport approached the alien ship, we don't know their technology, but we know ours. A laser is a laser, whether it cuts metal or aliens. Inside the alien vessel, Zephyrian Marine Commander Grex rallied his troops. "The humans are boarding us," he announced. "Primitive beings in crude armor. This will be easy." The first human through the breach was Sergeant Kim Sol. Instead of a rifle, she carried an industrial plasma cutter. When a Zephyrian soldier fired at her, his energy bolt struck her mining suit's reflective plating and scattered harmlessly. "Those aren't military suits," Grex realized with growing alarm. "They're work equipment." More humans poured through the opening. Private Choi Min used explosives designed for demolition work, blowing holes in walls that the aliens had considered impenetrable. Corporal Lee So wielded a magnetic crane controller, turning it into a device that could pull weapons from alien hands. "This is impossible," a Zephyrian officer whispered. "They're using construction tools." The battle moved through the ship corridors. Humans moved differently than any species the Zephyrians had encountered. Instead of advancing in formation, they scattered, crawled through maintenance shafts, and attacked from unexpected angles. Lieutenant Seo Min found himself in the ship's engineering section. Rather than trying to understand alien technology, he simply began cutting power cables with a welding torch. Throughout the ship, lights flickered and systems failed. In space, the battle continued with increasing desperation. Major Kim Jin flew her modified fighter in patterns that made no sense to alien pilots. She would dive toward larger ships, fire at point-blank range, then spiral away in corkscrews that G-forces should have made impossible. "How are they surviving those maneuvers?" asked an alien pilot. The answer was brutal. Many humans weren't surviving. But for every human fighter that fell, two more seemed to take its place. Earth's pilots had trained for decades in simulators that pushed both man and machine beyond their limits. On the surface, Captain Im Tae commanded an artillery unit using modified mining equipment. Instead of traditional cannons, they fired chunks of depleted uranium using electromagnetic launchers originally designed for launching ore into orbit. "Target the big one," Im ordered, pointing at a Zephyrian battleship. "Maximum power." The projectile struck the alien ship's shields and passed right through them. The Zephyrians had never considered that someone might use their own mining technology as weapons. Their shields deflected energy, but couldn't stop solid matter fired at such speed. At the United Nations building in New York, diplomats from every country worked without sleep. Cultural attaché Dr. Park So translated alien communications while military experts shared their findings. "Their shields work on energy displacement," explained General Chen Wei from China. "But they can't handle kinetic impact." "Then we don't use beam weapons," replied General Anderson from the United States. "We throw rocks, very fast rocks." The aliens learned that humans had spent centuries perfecting the art of throwing things at each other. From siege engines to artillery, from bullets to bombs, humans had never stopped improving ways to make objects hurt other things. Lieutenant Seo Min, now fighting in hand-to-hand combat with a Zephyrian, grabbed an alien plasma rifle. When he couldn't figure out how to fire it, he simply used it as a club. The alien's shock at this primitive solution cost him the fight. "They're not following any tactical manual," reported a Zephyrian commander. "They're improvising everything." Above Earth, Admiral Park Jin watched the battle from her command ship. Enemy vessels fell one by one, not to superior technology, but to sheer human stubbornness and creativity. "Ma'am," reported Captain Im Tae, "enemy fleet is beginning to retreat." Perks nodded but kept her expression serious. "Let them go, but track them. If they came here, they came from somewhere, and we need to talk to their neighbors." As the Zephyrian fleet limped away from Earth, General Crix stared at the tactical displays showing his losses. Over 30 ships, destroyed or disabled, hundreds of his best warriors killed by beings using mining equipment as weapons. "Sir," Commander Yex approached hesitantly, "we should warn command. These humans fight differently than anything we've encountered." Crix's 3 hearts burned with rage and something else. Fear. The Galactic Council had tried to warn them. Now he understood why. Humans didn't just fight wars. They turned everything. They touched into a weapon, and they never stopped learning how to fight better. As the battle raged around Earth, General Crix retreated to his personal quarters aboard the flagship. His confidence shattered like brittle metal. He needed to understand how his superior fleet was losing to primitive humans. His communication officer, Lieutenant Zal, knocked on the door. "Sir, we've intercepted a transmission. It's from the Galactic Council to Earth. The message was coded, but our systems broke it." Crix activated the display, expecting to see military plans or battle strategies. Instead, he found something that chilled his three hearts. The message wasn't orders to Earth. It was an apology. To the humans of Earth, the Council's leader spoke. "In the transmission, we failed to prevent this attack. We tried to warn the Zephyrians, but they refused to listen. As we have told other species before, humans are not your enemies by choice, but they will become your nightmare if provoked." Crix paused the message. "This can't be right. The Council warned them about us?" "No, sir," Zal replied quietly. "They warned us about them." The transmission continued. "Your government's agent should have received our data packet years ago. We have observed your species for centuries. You are unique. On Earth, Agent Lee So worked frantically in a secure facility beneath Sol. Banks of computers analyzed alien technology while he decoded the Council's full archives about humanity. What he found made him understand why Earth had prepared for this day. The Galactic Council had been studying humans since their first radio broadcasts. Their files painted a picture that terrified advanced civilizations throughout the galaxy. "They weaponize everything," one report stated. "Food preservation led to chemical weapons. Entertainment created training simulations for pilots. Their games teach military strategy to children." Another file showed human history. In 1945, they split atoms to end a war. Within years, they used the same technology to power cities. They viewed destruction and creation as parts of the same process. Crix continued reading, his confidence crumbling further with each report. "These humans study their own conflicts like textbooks. They name their wars, analyze their mistakes, and teach the lessons to their young. Most species forget past conflicts. Humans treat war as a science to be perfected." The most disturbing files showed human training methods. Children played games that taught tactical thinking. Athletes trained in ways that prepared them for combat. Even their entertainment often involved conflict and strategy. "Sir," Commander Yex interrupted over the intercom, "we're receiving another transmission from the planet. This time it wasn't from military forces." A civilian appeared on screen, an elderly human man wearing simple clothes. The nameplate identified him as Professor Park Jun, director of the Seoul Institute of Technology. "General Crix," the professor said calmly, "I understand you're confused by our response to your invasion. Let me explain something about humans." The professor gestured to a display showing various human inventions throughout history. "We invented the wheel to move heavy things. Then we put spears on wheels to make chariots. We discovered fire to cook food. Then we used fire to make weapons. We learned to fly to explore the skies. Then we used flying machines to drop bombs." Crix realized this human was giving him a lesson, not pleading for mercy. "You see," Professor Park continued, "we don't just create tools. We create systems. Every human invention serves two purposes: creation and destruction. Sometimes both, at once." The professor showed more examples. "Our computers play music and calculate missile trajectories. Our satellites transmit television signals and guide weapons to targets. Our medical research extends life and develops biological weapons." "This is impossible," Crix muttered. "No species thinks this way." The answer came from an intercepted council communication to other galactic powers. Humans treat war as an extension of their creativity. Where other species separate military and civilian technology, humans blend them seamlessly. Their children's toys teach concepts that our best generals struggle to understand. Agent Lee So discovered more disturbing patterns in the council files. Humans had evolved differently than other galactic species. While most intelligent life developed in peaceful environments, humans had faced constant threats from predators, disasters, and each other. They never experienced peace long enough to lose their edge, one report stated. They've been at war with something for their entire history. Fighting is not what they do, it's what they are. The files revealed that the Council had specifically isolated Earth to prevent humans from learning about galactic civilizations. They feared what would happen when human creativity met advanced technology. "We made one mistake," Crix read from a Council leader's personal notes. "We told ourselves that humans were primitive because they hadn't reached the stars. We forgot that reaching the stars requires peace. Humans have never known peace long enough to focus solely on exploration." As his fleet continued to lose ships, Crix finally understood the Council's warning. Humans weren't just warriors or inventors. They were both perfectly blended into something the galaxy had never seen before. Every human toy, every game, every tool, every invention served dual purposes. They had created a civilization that could instantly transform from peaceful to deadly without changing its fundamental nature. The most chilling discovery came in the form of human broadcasts the Council had intercepted. Children's shows that taught problem-solving, educational programs that explained physics through warfare examples. Even their entertainment constantly explored themes of conflict, strategy, and survival. "Sir," Zal reported, "the humans are hailing us again." This time Admiral Park Jin appeared, but she wasn't alone. Standing beside her were representatives from every nation on Earth, united as they hadn't been in centuries. "General Crix," Admiral I. Park said, "now you understand why the Council warned you. We didn't want this fight, but since you brought it to us, we're going to finish it properly." As Crix watched more of his ships fall to human ingenuity, he realized the terrible truth. The Galactic Council hadn't been protecting the galaxy from humans out of kindness. They'd been protecting humans from the galaxy's response to what humans could become. The Zephyrian fleet limped away from Earth, leaving behind debris and 30 destroyed warships. General Crix sat in his command chair, staring at casualty reports he couldn't believe. His communications officer, Lieutenant Zal, approached with another shock. "Sir, the humans are following us." "Following us? With what ships?" "They've built some, sir. Using our technology." On the bridge's main screen, a small fleet of strange vessels pursued the retreating Zephyrians. The ships looked wrong. A bizarre mix of human engineering and stolen alien components welded together with what appeared to be industrial adhesive. Captain Imtai commanded one of these hybrid vessels, the Soul. His engineer, Chief Petty Officer, Li So, had managed to reverse engineer a Zephyrian FTL drive in just 3 weeks. "Sir, their engine design is inefficient," Li reported. "I've improved it by 30% using standard car engine principles." Imtai laughed despite the situation. "Leave it to humans to fix alien technology like we're tuning vehicles. Though Human pursuit fleet wasn't just following, they were learning. Every damaged Zephyrian part became a lesson. Every intercepted communication taught them more about galactic civilization. 2 months later, the human fleet arrived at Zephyr Prime, the Zephyrian homeworld. The planet's defenses powered up, expecting an invasion. Instead, they received a simple message from Admiral Park Jin. "This is Admiral Park of the Earth Defense Force. We've come to discuss your recent visit to our planet. We'd like to talk." On Zephyr Prime, the military council gathered in emergency session. General Crix, demoted after his failure, provided intelligence on human capabilities. "They don't fight like any species we know," Crix explained. "They treat war as a problem-solving exercise. Every battle teaches them something new." Defense Minister Grax paced nervously. "Can we defeat them?" "Not without casualties we can't afford," Crix admitted. "They've already improved our technology. Within a year they'll surpass us entirely." The negotiations took place on a neutral space station. President Li Jun led the human delegation, accompanied by experts from every field imaginable. The Zephyrians expected threats and demands for surrender. Instead, humans came with proposals. Dr. Park, So, a xenobiologist, presented medical research. "Your people suffer from genetic disorders we've seen before in our own species. We've developed treatments that could help. Engineer Colonel Choi Min showed technological improvements. Your energy systems waste 40% of their output. We can fix that." Economics Professor Seo Min displayed trade agreements. "Earth has resources you need. You have knowledge we want. Why fight when we can exchange? The Zephyrian delegation sat in stunned silence. General Crix recognized the pattern from Council warnings. Humans turning warfare into cooperation, conflict into commerce. You're offering to help us? Defense Minister Grax asked. After we attacked you, President Lee leaned forward. You made a mistake. Mistakes can teach us both something valuable. Your people are skilled engineers. Our people are creative problem solvers. Together we might achieve things neither could alone. What followed surprised everyone in the galaxy. Instead of conquest or revenge, humans established Earth's first interstellar embassy on Zephyr Prime. Within months, human Zephyrian research teams made breakthrough discoveries in medicine, engineering, and agriculture. Lieutenant Seo Min, now Earth's military attaché, worked with former enemy officers on shared projects. They learned that Zephyrians, like humans, were natural problem solvers who had become trapped in rigid military thinking. You humans, observed Commander Yex during a joint training exercise, you see opportunity where others see opposition. The success of human Zephyrian cooperation sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. Ambassador Voss requested an urgent meeting with President Li Jun on the neutral ground of Council Station. Your species concerns us, Voss admitted. You've done what no one expected. You turned invasion into alliance. President Lee smiled. On Earth we have a saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. We prefer making friends out of enemies. But the power you're gaining, the technology you're sharing, other species fear what humans might become. Let me address the full council, Lee suggested. It's time Earth joined the galactic community properly. Months later, President Lee stood before the assembled Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of worlds watched as Earth's leader addressed their greatest fear. You've warned others about us because you fear our nature, Lee began. You're right to be cautious. Humans are dangerous to problems, not people. We're natural problem solvers who see every challenge as an opportunity. He gestured to holographic displays showing human achievements since first contact. Medical advances saving lives across multiple species. Technological improvements benefiting everyone, diplomatic solutions to age-old conflicts. You isolated us because you feared what we might do if we reached the stars, Lee continued. Now you know. We solve problems. We build bridges. We turn enemies into allies and wars into opportunities for growth. The Council voted unanimously to grant Earth full membership with monitoring status. Admiral Park Jin, now Earth's first interstellar defense coordinator, worked to prevent future conflicts before they started. General Crix, restored to honor after his accurate assessment of human capabilities, became the first alien officer to serve in Earth's Galactic Affairs Division. His experience taught both species valuable lessons about understanding versus underestimating opponents. In his final report to the Council, Ambassador Voss wrote, "We were right about humans being dangerous. They're dangerously good at turning conflicts into collaborations. Perhaps that's exactly what the galaxy needs, a species that solves problems instead of simply avoiding them." Earth's integration into galactic society marked a new era. Humans didn't conquer the galaxy through force. They conquered it through curiosity, creativity, and an unshakable belief that every problem had a solution if you looked at it from the right angle, and the galaxy, despite its initial fears, was better for it.